Good morning, good afternoon, and if you're coming home from working a long 9 to 5, hope you're having a great one. As we bring to you another Body Slam post show. This time, a trip to Chicago resulted to the Elimination Chamber, where we saw a new World Heavyweight Championship contender, so a World Championship contender for the Undisputed title, a new contender for Jade Cargill's Women's Championship, a very cursed debut, and so much more. Of course, my name is Rami and Max. I am your host as always, joined by me, of course, the incredible Max, Philly Zone. How's the Phillies doing? But of course, um, what a
Come
day it
on.
was. What a night it was. I'm just saying, Cactus League undefeated. I'm just saying, but like, just what a week it was. What a turnout that this event should have been. The journey to this from from when we covered a Royal Rumble, we told each
Mhm.
other how is Elimination Chamber going to build out. What will we be seeing coming from there? And of course, we thought CM Punk and Finn Balor would happen here, which it did. I think that was the match of the night for me. Cannot wait for us to get into that. It was so special and monumental for, Punk fans. But of course, um, kicked it off with the Women's Elimination Chamber. But of course, to everybody that is tuning in, thank you so much to all almost 100 plus of you that's building and building and building, growing and all that.
Mhm.
Um, as always, every time we are able to do these post shows, it's a lot of fun. It's just so much that we can, be able to get off our chest. And there's a lot of people who are very, very upset with the Curse debut that I mentioned. So
Crazy.
I don't know if we should be mentioning that right now or
Yeah.
we should be like, let's get into it because it did happen in the middle of the show,
Sure.
and I would love to be able to talk about this. So of course, after our first two matches, all of a sudden we get the attendance, 19,000 people in Chicago, Illinois, at the United Center, where you can watch Josh Giddey freaking duke it up.
That's
But
right.
of course, that's really mostly what the team has. No offense to them, Vucevic legend. But of course, we get the big crowd out. We have Adam Pearce on one side, we have Nick Aldis on the other. They have their crowbars. They knock the door down. It's still dark and spooky in there. I'm telling my little brother, dude, it's either freaking the Learning Tree or it's Danhausen. It's either the Learning Tree or it's Danhausen. Those are the two things, like, scrolling through my head. Either that or we're gonna get hornswoggled. But of course,
Oh, sorry. Really quick. Breaking news. WWE side. They just announced they're doing Drew McIntyre versus Cody for the title on Friday. Nick Aldis.
wow.
Nick Aldis was pissed, and he just said it's happening this Friday. So, just wanted to bring that up to start.
Hey, that's perfect to no, literally, that is perfect to bring up because we're gonna have so much to talk about when we get into that match, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
But of course,
Danhausen's not.
Danhausen makes his debut.
Mhm.
Danhausen comes out, you are cursed. We hear it. He has his dances with looking all bad as fuck, respectfully. And then just him going down the ramp doing his thing, and then no Mike. It's just him in the ring, and sorry, he gives like a jar of teeth to
Yep.
Michael Cole and Wade Barrett, and they're like, "What the fuck is this dental hygiene?" And
Yeah.
so yeah, and then just cut out the lights, and the crowd was booing. Of course, the crowd was booing, and the crowd didn't know who he was. And yeah, I will say this: this is not a Danhausen problem. You know what I mean? Because WWE has always done the whole vignettes of promoting people, whether they're serious acts, joke acts, or stuff that we just did not know we were gonna get.
Yeah.
For example, Lord Tensai, remember him?
Yeah.
Adam Rose, Brodus Clay, all of these characters that were, either built to be menacing or No Way Jose as well, or built for the fans, built for comedy service.
Mhm.
Danhausen is Danhausen is what you need in professional wrestling. Someone to give you a laugh and someone to bring in a very different story because the way I see it is there's been a curse happening for the Vision. Braun
Sure.
Breaker, what do you call it? Braun Breaker,
Bronson Reed.
Herdia, and then the whole stomp on the head by Seth Rollins and whatnot. But when we get into that, but like as the weeks progressed, then we had Bronson Reed, just recently just tear up his bicep and everything. So the whole time Logan and Austin are thinking to themselves, why is this happening? You got cursed. That's the reason why. You are cursed. And that's going to be a very, very exciting thing to see going forward. I understand that, 95% of the East fans do not understand the independent scene. They do not watch NXT as well. Shayna Baszler had this conversation many times where she was like, "Oh, the only reason why I didn't win the championship was because I was told by Vince McMahon that nobody knew who I was."
Yeah,
And
and
because NXT, because okay, go on.
and look tonight, they literally had Trick and Javon do a standoff just to hope for NXT chants, and there was not a single NXT chant when they did that Trick and Javon stare off. But yeah, I agree with you, Dash. I've watched him for like 7-8 years now. When he was in Ring of Honor before Tony had it, and obviously went to AEW. I just think they put their two quote unquote new AEW signings in just such bad spots, where we talked about how they put Hobbs in a really bad spot at the Royal Rumble. And I think they didn't do Danhausen any favors either, Rami. Like they built this up too much. Do you know what I mean? I think he is really good for what he does. I think he's so funny. He's perfect for the comedy. He can do his stuff in the ring when he needs to. Based on people I talk to, he's obviously someone who's very well respected. He's very friendly with a lot of people we know as well. He is very good at what he does. I don't think he deserved to be thrown out there kind of to the wolves, where it's funny, like years ago, if an AEW person of sorts would come over, people would know who he is. Now you really do have to educate people on some of these AEW people who maybe go over to WWE. And again, Danhausen's not someone who is a top AEW person. He has been on TV and God knows how long, like I think over a year since he's been used on AEW.
Yeah.
I think it was like a Ring of Honor pay-per-view that was like the last time they used him, like when he came out from like bottom of the ring, maybe like 2024, like late 2024. It's been a while since he's been on TV. So it's tough where, sure, he's an AEW person, but he hasn't been on TV in a very long time. He's kind of out of the zeitgeist. And you're building this up for like 3 consecutive weeks of what's in the box. And
I love that movie.
Exactly. And then it just happens. And at first he got a pop because I think the people who knew him, he got a pretty big ovation. But the moment the segment ended, it was like loud chorus of boos. And I think they did him no favors. He definitely feels like an act made for like NXT. And I thought he was someone who would go to NXT first. I'm shocked they're just doing this. Like, I just don't know what the direction is, other than maybe he's a backstage like R-Truth, just maybe on Raw. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just don't know what they see.
Mm-hmm.
They obviously think
I was looking at Cage Match right now to see what he's been doing. He had 2 dates in last January where it was Danhausen, Heidi Howitzer, and Shotzi Blackheart for the Love Laugh Lucha championship, and then he just recently fought at the AIW Alive Out of Habit show, Eric Taylor. So of course, independent runs you can always do and whatnot. But when you're not on AEW TV, like we just mentioned, like Powerhouse Hobbs was literally on TV.
Yes.
And then like 2-3 weeks later, bam, Royal Rumble bound and everything. So it was good for him. And people had that whole like Powerhouse Hobbs, and then boom, Royce Keys of what it is.
He's been on TV since. He's been on TV with the Stephanie podcast, but the guy hasn't been actually used on Raw or SmackDown in a month now. It's crazy.
Like as soon as they announced, like, oh yeah, this man's like 50 years old, everyone was like, all right, maybe he needs to be off TV. I'm like, what does that mean? But of course, I do agree here with Dash as well.
He will.
He will for sure win everybody over. Because here's how I think of it as, BS. People who root for Mr. Iguana, people who root for Akira Tozawa, people who root for Otis, people who root for any of those comedy characters that or Truth as well. There's so many comedy characters. Recently, they've tried to turn on Tozawa and Otis as some serious tag team competitors for the Usos specifically. But besides that, these are comedy guys. These are guys that are not going to always wrestle. But if you need a segment where you're going to pop somebody, hey, pop me, brother. I'm more than happy with that. I'm very happy for him. He deserves all the good money in the world. He deserves, a lot of because he has like a child. Him and his wife. The past couple of years, people for some reason wanted to throw him into the whole brawl out situation and being like, wow, you're friends with CM Punk, man, you are a piece of shit. But it's crazy because I'm not no tribalist. I'm not gonna go and be like Young Bucks are bastards, CM Punk's a bastard. Sure. Nobody is. People fight all the time. Remember back in like there was a WWE draft that happened, the first ever WWE draft like 10 years ago or whatever. Like if in some time, 5 minutes before they went on the show, guess what happened? Simon Gotch and Sheamus got into a fight backstage. Where Sheamus literally freaking shoved a Pepsi can through freaking Simon Gotch's forehead. Crazy work. Do I hate Sheamus? No. Do I hate Simon Gotch? Not one bit. I think they're both freaking great wrestlers. But
I
of course, it's good. Always gonna be.
just want to say I agree with Dash. I think we're all saying the same thing. He's a good guy who I thought was just
Yeah.
thrown. I think again, if this was a backstage segment tonight on the show, there wasn't any setup. I think it would have gotten a really good reaction. But it was kind of, I actually thought he was like wrestling for a hot second. When he like walked to the ring, I was like, is this going to be like a match? And then like the lights went off. So the question is, right, what do they do momentum wise? Because look, you just brought it up, Ron, which is a great point. Royce Keys got the debut at the Rumble. Hasn't even been mentioned on TV. He's not on TV for a month. Are they going to, with how chaotic this Mania season has been, where it feels like every week they're like ripping shreds into Mania plans and ripping sheets of paper on Raw or SmackDown plans. What do they even have Danhausen doing? What I will say is I think this is a better shot of them with momentum because they've had this plan for weeks now of the box and him being there. So you would think, again, Brody and Darby are friends with Punk. FTR are really close with Punk. It's not like that. Again, Danhausen's friends with Punk. I think that probably helped him get in the good grace, I think, with WWE people. Maybe Punk probably put a good word with Hunter and said this is a good idea to bring him in for this bit. But yeah, it's all about follow-up with WWE. They do a lot of oohs and ahs and big surprises at these shows. Half the time, they just don't do follow-ups for any of this stuff. So again, I'm rooting for him. He's a really entertaining person. He's gone mega over merch-wise, by the way, in both Ring of Honor and AEW. Like, merch is huge for him. And the fact that he gets to keep his name. And again, I think once he gets over, he'll do very well merch-wise. I think he'll be in good shape. I do feel bad.
Yeah, I can't wait for them to release the masks for him, and then the cool hoodies and shirts. Like, Halloween season is gonna be so much fun with this guy. Like, I cannot wait for it. So props to Danhausen. Anyone who's hating on it, you just get your money up, not your funny up. Come on now. But of course, our first match of the night was for a shot at the women's championship. Jade Cargill's from WrestleMania 42. Rhea Ripley, Tiffany Stratton, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, Kiana James, and Raquel Rodriguez. A lot of names here that could be really great opponents for Jade Cargill. Yeah. And of course, after last night, Lash Legend and Nia Jax dethroning Io Sky and Rhea Ripley, I was shocked by that. But I was also in the sense of this is the perfect moment. You know what I mean? Nia and Lash have been working so hard for the last couple of months, whether it was against each other or it was teaming up again with each other. Going into War Games and going into the Women's Rumble, they've been doing some really good work. So heading into this match, I'm shocked they weren't in the chamber, but it's also better to strap them up so that you can keep them protected heading into WrestleMania. But of course, Raquel Rodriguez came up short in the Rumble. Kiana James had a really good breakout performance. Asuka got eliminated because of Kyrie. Alexa, and Charlotte had their big moment there with the whole elimination. Tiffany made her big return, of course, after a couple of months on the shelf. Yeah. And then Rhea Ripley, just no championship, looking to get back to that gold. And let's be real here. Like, Rhea Ripley is becoming a Miss WrestleMania right now. Like, in the last couple of years, she's had some really great matches at WrestleMania. 39 against Charlotte Flair, where she finally became, Queen of the Mountain. Then she goes against Becky Lynch a year later, where she just dominates her. Then she goes against this past year against Bianca Belair and Io Sky, which of course should have been a main event for that night. Like, I would have been more than happy with that. And then now, after this match, of course, Kiana, great performance, but it felt a bit rushed. I will admit.
It was a really quick match.
It felt like with the men's Rumble, you saw them take their time with their entrances and everything. I'm like, damn, holy moly. Yes. But then with this year, it was like, all right, guys, get in there and just, soup it up. It was No Way Out 2009 with Jeff Hardy and Edge are in there for 15 minutes. It was, let's start. Like, I left the room. I got some pink lemonade. I was like, okay, cool. I come back, and then already the 4 women are in there. I'm like, I was there for like 5-6 minutes, brother. Like, it felt like it was just already, like, just zoning it up. Yeah. But Raquel Rodriguez, when she came out, I immediately said she has to go into beast mode. And she freaking did. She eliminated Kiana James and Asuka. That was amazing.
At the same time.
at the same time, like literally on top of each other. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Um, but of course, Alexa Bliss, she got eliminated with a miss to the eyes by
Yeah.
Asuka. Very good. You know what I mean? Always Asuka having the one-up number on her. I could honestly see what do you call it? A situation where we get Charlotte and Alexa against Asuka, Kyrie against Lash and Nia for WrestleMania, where we're able to get a lot more of the women on that side. It's even as well as Raquel and Roxanne. Like you're gonna have to fill up that card with with your freaking best talent. You can't be giving us like 4 or 5 matches on Mania. We have to get at least 8 to 10, and it has to be some really great stories. Which the women's tag team championships right now are on a great story because you're going against like basically a dominant dynasty, a freaking like SWAT team, Last Legend, with a forearm can kill you, and
Mhm.
Nia Jax is a tank. You cannot stop her. But Rhea Ripley picks up a big win in the end, stopping Tiffany Stratton from hitting that prettiest moonsault ever, throws her into the pod, gets her over the riptide, 1, 2, 3, and now at WrestleMania, it'll be Rhea Ripley versus Jade Cargill. What are your thoughts on Rhea Ripley earning another big World Championship match at WrestleMania 4 years in a row?
This made a lot of sense. The fact that Rio lost the titles last night, I think everyone then assumed Rhea was going to win this match. I thought Raquel was the most obvious standout in the match. She was just beating everyone up. Judgment Day does have a lot of momentum. I think, honestly, out of every storyline going into WrestleMania, I actually think Judgment Day is going to have two of the most interesting stuff going into Mania. We'll talk about some other stuff later on the show with them. But I do think Raquel has been, most improved, I would say, over the last year or two. Even though I was a big fan of her work in NXT, I think a lot of people, when she had to leave the company for a little bit with her things and she took a break, I think people took her for granted how good she was in the ring. But this new character work, her wearing the glasses also inside the chamber pod was also like really cool. I enjoyed that. But yeah, this was very quick. I think it was smart having, I know Asuka did the mist on Alexa, but they gave Kiana that pin, which I think was important to do. I think this Jade title run has flat out just sucked. So I think at this point, in ring wise, I think Rhea will do as good as they can do for this match. And I think it'll be a moment when Rhea wins the title back. I just think, Jade's had one title defense in like over 100 days of this reign. I think Rhea's the person, even though it's weird. She's a Raw superstar, going to be fighting for the SmackDown title. I think this does put Io in the U.S. title picture, I would think, for WrestleMania. I think her and Julia could probably have I think they should do that, but we shall see. But I think Rhea is going to win at WrestleMania. It will be a very good moment. I'm not sure how good the match will be with the Jade stuff, but I think Rhea in general was the right person. Tiffany, since she's been back, she just hasn't had a lot of momentum. The crowd hasn't been completely back with her since she's been, returning. So she's also someone that no one's really talking about, like, what is she doing for Mania season, right? It's going to be interesting. They ended with the right two people because I think everyone was just predicting it was going to be Rhea or Tiffany, but it made all the sense in the world to do Rhea. And I think Rhea's going to get the big win at WrestleMania. So it'll be the big moment. Also, some people are like, well, Rhea has some fatigue. Why do people aren't fatigued with Rhea? But I think they've done a good job with Rhea because she's been out of the world title picture for basically a whole year now. She's been doing tag stuff. She's been doing non-title feuds. So that's why inserting her in the world title picture of WrestleMania works, because she felt like it's been a millennium since she's been in the world title picture. So I think they've done a good job with Rhea, non-title work for the last year. Now she'll be back probably with the title in 49 days.
Throw me into fucking washing machine if I'm wrong, but SummerSlam, it was Naomi, Rhea, and Io, right?
Yeah. Well, was Rhea in that match? I don't know. I'll look it up right now. SummerSlam 2025. I'll look it up.
I think that was Naomi, Rhea, and Io because they had to run it back after the Evolution match. You know what I mean? The cash-in that happened. So it's been since since we've seen, 6 freaking months since we've seen her in the world
Yeah,
title
oh,
picture. She's
wow.
done a lot of different things. Stephanie Vaquero became champion, and Stephanie has had to deal with, Raquel. They had to deal with, Liv. It had to deal with all the other people. So it kept her out of the picture by a huge margin. And then Jade finally became champion. And now we're like, we need someone dominant to take it off of Jade. And as much as I like Raquel, I feel like it would build more into a situation that if Raquel loses here, she has more of a reason to snap on Liv and break her in half. You know what I mean? So I feel like losing a situation like this, and then you go to WrestleMania with Roxanne, and you come up short again for the Women's Tag Team Championships while Liv wins the title. That right there is the biggest way to, inch in all the ways of hell yeah.
Yeah,
This is how you
I
betray someone.
I agree with you. I think they're going to do a big ladder match. Because also we haven't talked like the Bella Twins are going to be involved because they're back as
Where
well.
are
So
they? No. WWE has been mind-boggling for the last couple of weeks. Where are they? Like, hey guys, we brought back. Like, hold on. Like, I understand everyone will be like, that's not my cup of tea. But if you're bringing somebody back, it's like we just said about Royce Keys. You bring them on TV and you don't show them after that. You bring the Bellas on TV and you don't show them after that. What's gonna happen with Danhausen? What's gonna happen with all these other people? Like, I'm glad that when we get to the World Championship match that we didn't have some clusterfuck interferences. But I feel like it also would have made more sense to inch on more of that, betrayal aspect. For our next match.
Oh, sorry. I just want to finish my last point before we get to the next match. I do think, Rami, this is a really important feud and match for Jade, because she's not going to win the match at WrestleMania. But if she can put together this really good feud with Rhea, and if she can put together her best performance,
what would be your thoughts? What would be your thoughts if she wins?
Jade?
Yeah.
No. I'm not trying to be a jerk.
I mean, I don't know.
I think Jade has a lot of charisma. She looks, as I continue to tell, she looks superhuman. She doesn't look like I said. The heel promos way better fit for her. The in-ring is just not there at the moment, and it hasn't been massively improving. There's a reason why they're not having her wrestle that much. She's, as I said, defended the title one time in this entire title reign so far. I don't think they're going to have Jade beat Rhea. Like, I just don't. I think if Jade was ready to be shot, because if she beats Rhea, she is shotgun to being the top person. That's the #1 superstar in the company. I just don't think they think that. I just don't think they think that's
I think it does happen because I think Jade will drop the championship at SummerSlam to Bianca. I think that's when we get the Bianca championship win, because then Bianca will return to the picture like after the night after Mania, like the first SmackDown after Mania. Jade's gonna be all like championship coronation. I beat Rhea Ripley. I beat the top dog, and then boom, Bianca comes out, and like that's when they set up the whole feud for that right there. And Bianca has to work her way up.
I would not do that. I think that's how you piss off a lot of people. And I also
what do you think? What do you think the Fed does? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's such a WWE storyline that they would definitely be like, it would be like, you know what? Rhea shouldn't have to win here, because if Rhea loses, that gives her more of a reason to go and betray Io.
I just don't see them. Yeah, I don't see it.
You know what I mean? It always happens that way. For some reason, WWE and their fascination with betrayal storylines has been a massive thing for the last couple of years now.
I would rather Bianca cost her the match at Mania than.
See, that would be amazing. See, a special guest referee like that, like a freaking like Ken.
I don't want Bianca Jade for the title. I don't.
Would be amazing.
I don't want Bianca and Jade for the title, especially if Bianca can't wrestle. She can still come out and cost Jade the match, and without getting physical either. And I still think Rhea and Bianca one-on-one is a main event pay-per-view match. So I think even if Bianca could beat Jade down the road, then we can do Bianca Rhea just straight up one-on-one, which is what they wanted to do last year at WrestleMania before the whole Io train happened. I don't think they have faith in Jade. I think based on the booking, they don't have faith in Jade, in my opinion. But
we'll see. I've seen for the last couple of months to a year how the reaction has been, and so fans are not really appreciating the whole repetitive title defenses, repetitive, promos, segments, stuff like that. So of course, heading into WrestleMania, we're feeling a lot of drought. You know what I mean? We're really drowsy from the storylines that they've been booking. So it's just all a bit depending on how they. And look, they're gonna make the first hour available to ESPN cable, providers, and then the first hour of the next night of WrestleMania for ESPN. they're trying their best to get these viewership really up. They're trying to
Yep.
get these ticket sales up, but it's not helping. And also another thing I want to bring up very quickly: people were trying to tell me, "Oh, $2,000 is not a lot of money for a WrestleMania ticket for nosebleeds." Are you smoking dick?
Yeah, I
Like, I'm
said,
sorry, people.
yeah, from my perspective, I think I spent, it was like 1,100 or 1,200. I didn't sit up top. I sat down low. So if it's 2,000 up top, 2 years later, that is complete insanity. Because I think it was like
It was like that last
700
year, dude.
when
Last year
yeah,
for
in
WrestleMania.
Philly, I think it was like 600, 700 to sit up
Yeah,
top, which is I think a fair price for
yeah.
WrestleMania. But
No, yeah, my best friends, Brian, Dawson, Logan, they all
yeah,
went to Philly and everything to go and see that big WrestleMania. They got it for a pretty good price, and I was like, man, I can't wait for next year in Vegas, knowing damn well that I would not be able to fucking go, and even this year for Vegas, I'm like, freaking. At the end of the day, it would cost me out of that whole week $5,000 for everything, bruh.
that's the problem too. Vegas, no, most of these people don't live there.
Like, exactly. I live about maybe 2, 3 hours from Vegas.
Yeah,
And even then, I know that you don't want to freaking go to Vegas because it's the most expensive place to go to, and there's so much to do. And then you add in WrestleMania, they're gonna triple the prices of every single fucking thing, including
it's
hotels,
crazy.
gas, water, whatever the fuck it is. Our
It's
next
crazy.
match,
Yeah,
AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. This was AJ Lee's first singles match and God knows how freaking long. Like,
like
my
11
goodness,
years.
like 11 years it had been since we had
Yeah,
last seen, of course, AJ Lee in a singles match. That last singles match for her, if I pull it up right now, was, like a couple of years ago. Sorry about that.
no, you're good. You're good. The old cage match, you know.
Yeah, Monday Night Raw with Nikki Bella defeated AJ Lee in 11 minutes in 2015.
Yeah, 11 years. Yeah, that's what I thought.
11 freaking years it had been. Her last win on TV was against Summer Rae in 3 minutes, by the way. So that's funny as fuck. Um,
Yeah,
but of course, it had been that long since we had seen her in a singles match, whether it was on TV or pay-per-view, and we have been wondering for years, for over a decade, when is she finally gonna come back? Because she's so talented, she's so amazing, she's like the best wrestler. She's your favorite wrestler's favorite wrestler. So everyone's always gonna want to tune in for an AJ Lee match, segment, whatever the works is. So to get her and Becky Lynch, we've been saying for months, when are we gonna get this match? And I don't know if we had like thoughts where it would be like in December, where it would have been like a Survivor Series, or whether it had been a Royal Rumble. But then we finally got it here in Chicago at the United Center. And they kept saying the hometown of AJ Lee. She's from New Jersey, pal. She's a fan of the Devils. She ain't no Blackhawks fan.
that's
But
right.
other than that, of course, AJ Lee, which funny, Michael Cole said AJ Styles, and I popped so hard. I was like,
Yep.
dude, he keeps messing up. He called Natty Natalia. He called AJ Lee AJ Styles. I'm like, brother, yes, keep a note on all the names, my guy. But of course, this was a match where I saw the Dusty finish coming up, and I was like, okay, Becky's gonna retain. We're gonna get her to be the big humiliation in the adopted hometown of AJ Lee, and then we're gonna see how it builds into WrestleMania. And
Yeah.
then it all changed up. Exposed turnbuckle, big freaking what do you call it? I think she hit her with a Black Widow. She got her in the Black Widow and whatnot, and then forced her to freaking tap. Wow. Just I'm shocked by it because I legit thought that, okay, have her lose in her adopted hometown, make Becky Lynch seem like she's on top of the world, that she does not have to fight AJ Lee ever again. Have her be humiliated so much that she has to freaking accept that match one more time. Hell, they could have done title versus career. They could have honestly done that right there
Sure.
off the bat because AJ wasn't wrestling a lot of matches,
Well, they're
and
going
if
to
you
do
end the
this.
career
Yeah, they're going to do a step
and
to do this match again. So
exactly.
I
So,
mean,
like, if that were the case of like Becky retains, or you want another shot, you have to put your career on the line,
yeah,
and then she retains it, and then she wins the championship, it would have been great. But that was not the case. AJ Lee officially wins the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship against Becky Lynch by submission. Crazy ending, huge pop. Everybody was like just going berserk, and I was very happy about it. Becky, no matter what, in both reigns, I know people have all the nitpicking things to say, and the naysayers will always doubt her, but she's made things very entertaining. even if many people said on Mondays, I didn't like that, I didn't like that. She was losing her mind every week. And people are like, I don't know what she's doing. Dude, AJ got in her head so much that she's like in a therapy. She's like in therapy sessions every day. Every single day having to talk to her therapist, AJ Lee, about how can I beat, the Black Widow? How can I beat your favorite wrestler's favorite wrestler? And then she tried to do all the dirty finishes. She tried to hit Jessica Carr. She tried to do all these things, and it did not work in the end. AJ Lee wins the Women's Intercontinental Championship for the first time in her career. First championship to the Divas Championship. Crazy freaking work. What were your thoughts on this?
So I agree with you. I think Becky deserves a lot of respect for the last since this reign because look, they've put her in the ring, not with any. I guess people who need a lot of work in the ring, right? They have her have this whole feud with Maxine, who was really just that whole feud was let's give Maxine a billion reps, right? On TV with Becky Lynch. Now Becky's next challenge was let's try to pull together a good enough match with someone who has not wrestled a singles match in 11 years. I think Becky did the best she could. AJ definitely looked rusty in moments in the match. When I mean rusty, it was all timing. There are definitely timing elements where it looked like she was supposed to run to Becky, and then there were times where they were like waiting for each other to be on the same page. Becky was obviously running the match. You could definitely tell during it. I thought Becky hit a really good manhandle slam, like a filthy manhandle slam. I agree with people I agree. I would not have had Becky hit the DDT on the chair, then hit the manhandle slam and get a kick out. I thought that was like a bit much, but AJ wins because I thought the finish after that was good. Becky and Jessica Carr feud continued, which I love. I thought the match was okay. I thought Becky did a really good job. I think AJ just needs more reps, which is good because my opinion is I would rather the better match be at Mania than now. So I hope. But I agree. I think there has to be a stiff because look, every time these two have been in the ring together, Becky has tapped out. So they have to give a reason why AJ would want another match with Becky. Because logically, she's like, I'm done. I've tapped you out 3 times in a row. Why would I want another match with you? I think Becky, there has to be a stipulation or something. And then, AJ wins. Becky can maybe go back.
I think the two stipulations that make the sense are a submission match. A submission match would work a lot of sense because
I don't want an I quit match, though. I don't want an I quit match.
That's why I quit match feels like it would be too much and it would kind of like deplete the whole morale and popularity for Becky Lynch because again, you quit. It's just gonna keep building onto you. Another match that I could see happening, but I know they won't do this because you don't have to get too extreme between these two. They already have too much of a grudge. An unsanctioned match, like some sort of like no holds barred between these two. Even last woman standing match, if you could like try to find a way to like build that work rate up back again for both women and be able to have them being a last woman standing match, kick that off for WrestleMania night 2. I think everybody would enjoy it because WrestleMania night 2 I think kicks off with Becky and AJ, and then we main event it with CM Punk and Roman Reigns. So we get that opener and then ending of like the Brooks family. So I think that would be really amazing.
I am shocked though. I think we all agreed. I thought Becky probably could have won tonight. Once the shenanigans happened, I was like, okay, so Becky's going to win with these shenanigans. AJ will get the match at Mania. But I am shocked that she pulled the trigger tonight with just Becky losing.
Me too.
Because again, it makes no logical sense for her to do the match again. Becky can't beat her in 6 months, like taps out every time. It doesn't make logical sense for Becky to have another match with AJ. But it's WWE at this point. Nothing's making sense anymore. So I assume they'll just...
That's why, no offense, but I can literally see Becky winning back the championship as well.
Yeah, probably. AJ's part-time. AJ's
part-time.
AJ
has so much on her schedule that winning the championship right now and being one of the women, one of the pillars of that, kind of championship, because you've only had now 4 champions. Lyra, Becky, Maxine, and AJ.
Yep.
Crazy, you know what I mean? 4 of those women, I guarantee you, Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? Because they're going to keep working their way up. And AJ's, first ballot. Becky, first ballot. Lyra will get her way up there. And Maxine's getting better and better. She learned so much from the Becky feud and from the Natty feud so far. So it's only up from here.
Yeah.
But of course, congratulations to AJ Lee. Shocked the whole world, including me, because I only think that maybe people in Chicago were gonna believe that she was gonna win. You know what I mean? It would have to be the adopted hometown, or even Jersey, mainly probably even Jersey. But of course, I'm having a bad day today, so no worries. Our next matchup, the World Heavyweight Championship after the whole Danhausen thing, but the World Heavyweight Championship on the line. Finn Balor comes out to catch your breath. Beautiful as always. I'm always like, man, but a lot of people are like, why did he come out as a demon? He said a few days ago he was not going to come out as a demon, which when we
He
get
might at
after this
Mania though.
match,
He might at
which
Mania.
I want to get it. When we get into that, it's gonna be a good freaking conversation. But of course,
Yeah.
CM Punk gets the freaking the freaking Jordan music. You know what I mean? I know it has like a second name, Sirius, like something like that.
Yes,
Um,
serious.
but
Yeah. The
hold on.
Chicago Bulls music.
Yeah, the Sirius sorry Eye in the Sky by the Alan Parsons Project, the album instrumental intro song Sirius, which was used for Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls throughout their historic 90s run where they won 6 championships out of that entire decade, and freaking 6 of those championships were 2 3-peats. So when you hear that music play and you see CM Punk walk out of that locker room, all you can really think to yourself is, holy freaking crap, MJ is back. And I was beaming from cheek to cheek. I play a lot of NBA 2K11. Like I feel like I'm like a kid again whenever I play that. So when I hear Sirius by the Alan Parsons Project, I get happy. I think of Michael Jordan. I think of that, historic championship, reigns he constantly had throughout the 90s. And then you see CM Punk, who says this might be the only time I ever main event the United Center on pay-per-view, and he went freaking all out. The Chicago Blackhawks colors, the jacket with, paying homage to Larry on the back and everything. Just a very, very beautiful entrance. Emotional to get you if you're a basketball fan, emotional to get you if you're a pet parent, and emotional to get you if you're just a CM Punk fan, which of course, like, look, I'm wearing this freaking shirt that he cashed in his first Money in the Bank on Edge on Monday Night Raw, which I watched live and I was like, that's a pretty cool shirt. Years down the line, I get the fucking shirt. I'm like, all right, that's so amazing. To to see this guy grow, to see him come back to the Fed throughout all the things that people say, it's just I'm so glad that he's finally back, and I'm glad that he's able to fight people like Finn Balor, AJ Styles, the best of the very freaking best. Like you want to see him go against all these all-time greats. I want to see him defend the champions against Rey Mysterio next, against Kofi Kingston next, against all these guys that he had these 2008 feuds with and these
Yeah.
runs with, to where it's like, hell yeah, Finn Balor. I'm so happy that he got his music back because that shit that he had before was fucking ass. And
Ass.
just complete ass. And Finn Balor is
Ass.
one of my all-time favorites. He's one of everyone's all-time. If you're a pro wrestling fan, you're a Finn Balor fan. That's all you can really freaking say because you watched him if you watched him on the independent scene where in Ireland and the UK and Mexico, he killed it. You watched him in New Japan. That's the reason why we freaking have the Bullet Club. That's the reason why we too sweet these days. We don't give a fuck with the click, respectfully. But then he goes to the NXT, the Demon Balor. I was like, whoa, that's amazing already. And then goes to the main roster, beats Roman Reigns on his first night, beats Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship, and that stain that's been on his career for the last 10 years of
Crazy.
when will I ever win the World Championship again. Like he hasn't been injured in 10 freaking plus years, and they still don't want to strap him with a belt. But tonight was another night where he showed that I am a main event caliber guy, as always, since the very first day he walked into the business, and that why him and CM Punk will always create magic between each other, especially in the United Center, where magic was created every single night when Michael Jordan was sticking his tongue out and going for those big slam dunks or fadeaway shots on John Stockton, Malone, freaking anyone, John Starks, anyone that you name from the 90s, he put them on skates. CM Punk got Finn Balor on skates, got him in the GTS, put him out, got his nose busted, his lip busted up and everything, but it didn't matter. 1, 2, 3, CM Punk retains, and it's official. The Royal Rumble winner, Roman Reigns, will fight the best in the world, CM Punk, at WrestleMania in that main event for night 2, I believe it'll be, because
Yeah.
it's too big. It's too big. Zebros, no more. And, it's just going to be a really, really great classic match that we should have had last year, the Seth Rollins involvement was like just to get that big like shock, value. Oh
That
my
was the right
goodness,
decision,
Paul
by the way.
Heyman's with him.
Yeah,
It
that
was
was the
the
right.
right decision until you had him do a coast to coast from corner to corner and hurt himself, and then this whole entire storyline just became a big clusterfuck. I will say though, the number one moment for me last year in terms of like shock value, which was a good thing for me, was Seth Rollins cashing in. Because I was like, oh, he's gonna be back one day. I tell my little brother that, and then he drops the crutches, and I'm like, oh my God, he did it! Like that was like I think one of the coolest things in the world. So shout out Seth Rollins and shout out tonight as well. But CM Punk retains against Finn Balor. Of course, we knew this was going to happen. Of course, this was going to be a great match.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this great match, and what are your thoughts going forward? Do you think CM Punk retains at WrestleMania, or do you think Roman takes the title?
I thought the match was very good. I thought it was a solid match. I actually liked the Belfast match more, because I thought that match
Yeah,
had
yeah,
more of a
you know,
50-50. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I didn't know
yeah,
it was.
it was higher.
I thought, here's what I thought. Going in, I was like, maybe they will have Finn win, because the whole thing of this storyline is if Punk loses this match, he loses his Mania match. And I thought they were going to do a thing where Punk loses tonight. They run Punk Balor at MSG, and Punk's like, this is my last shot to main event WrestleMania, to be in the main event with Roman. I need to win this match. So Punk beats Finn. I was actually shocked. What I thought was going to happen going was I thought Dom or JD would accidentally cost Finn. Now
Yeah, I thought so too.
I'm happy there was no shenanigans. I think it helps Finn's babyface. Because again, even though he was booed during the match, the entrance, he was very over. So I think
Yeah, he's too over.
they did the shake
He's
of hands
loved.
thing again. Finn will be babyface. I think Finn will beat Dom at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental Championship, and that'll be a very big moment. I think Punk has to turn heel at WrestleMania. I am like so done with babyface Punk. I think Punk's going to retain, and he's going to turn heel on Roman. Because again, the whole crowd seemingly is cheering for Roman Reigns. Even on Raw, it's like, oh my God, Roman's not here. And the whole crowd did not care. They were still booing Punk when he was bringing up Roman. So Punk needs to go heel. No, I have no interest in Roman being the guy, the champion again. I just don't. I don't see the money in
No.
Roman being the guy. So I think Punk wins. Maybe they end the show with a low blow and it's just a complete beatdown, or he cheats to beat Roman. He has to go heel to end Mania. That's the only thing I see for Punk is a finally, for the first time in a decade, he's finally working heel. I just want him working heel at this point. I do. I think it's his babyface promos are not. You can tell he's holding so much back because he's being a babyface. I need him off the chains at this point from a promo perspective. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I want to say I do feel like he held back on the promos when it came to Jey Uso. When it came to people he didn't really want to feud with, he didn't really put in that, heart and ability.
Yeah.
With Braun Breaker, we saw some really great promos out of that. The night after Royal Rumble, like when Roman announced, of course, I'm challenging you, we had a really good exchange of promo there. But of course, the fans were really resonating with Roman Reigns. And a double turn happening at Mania for CM Punk, whether it was Finn Balor or it was Roman Reigns, is bound to happen. It should happen because Roman has been away for so long. He hasn't been there since the Royal Rumble win. And before that, he wasn't there for quite some time. So, of course, we've seen all these months where CM Punk's been the top guy. It's getting to that moment again where he's going to have to deal with someone like The Rock. And people are going to be like, oh, we want The Rock. We want Roman. We want him to win the World Championship. And for him, in his eyes, to save WWE and to keep himself, safe, he's got to go freaking low. And that means when that referee's turned, you low blow him, you put him in a sharpshooter. And I truly believe a sharpshooter finish or even an Anaconda Vice finish would really elevate him because people are like, oh, but sharpshooter, you're basically mimicking off of the whole Austin and, Hart thing. Well, buddy, who is CM Punk to us? The modern day Stone Cold in some eyes, the modern day Bret Hart. He has all of these things to him. So whether you put him in on the Anaconda Vice, I don't really mind, or if you can put him in the sharpshooter, you make Roman Reigns pass out. Busted open, you make him pass out right there. He does not tap out and end it right there. And then CM Punk keeps the lock in the whole way. until they have to literally force him off of it. And then even then, he just stands over his body with his foot on top of Roman's head. That right there shows I killed the freaking, the beast. I killed the giant. I finally stopped this from happening. And it helps CM Punk because if we get him at his heel in today's time, he ain't freaking keeping no freaking receipts off the freaking table. He's putting everything
That's
down
what I
and
want.
calling everybody out. You know
That's
what
what
I
I
mean?
want. That's what I want,
And
dude.
then on top of that, now with the main event of the Chamber ending the way that it did, we might get to Superman against freaking Joker in our eyes. Like, you know what I mean? Because I don't see Cody Rhodes as no Batman. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he ain't no Batman to me. But if anything, he's freaking probably Nightwing with some little bit of evil in him. But of course, our next match
Main
is
event.
the Elimination Chamber match for the Undisputed WWE Championship match at WrestleMania 42, Drew McIntyre's goal, the main event. And every entrance took like fucking 15 minutes, my guy. Like,
I
my
think they
God.
said.
I was like,
I think because the Danhausen thing was after the Punk match. I think that the moment the Punk match ended, it took 40 minutes for the bell to ring for the Chamber match. So you had the Danhausen thing. You had ads. You had promotion. You had promotion. They showed celebrities. Then the entrances. It took like 40 minutes in between matches. Crazy. It's a 4-match show.
crazy work, brother.
Holy.
And a lot of people were like, oh, wow, Danhausen killed the crowd. But even when Trick, I'm sorry, when Trick Williams came out first, there was no pop.
Crowd sucked the
When
whole night.
Yeah, the crowds. Let's be real. Chicago has not had a good track record when it comes to staying alive. There was an AEW show, I believe, a couple of months ago, where the crowd just died out. I don't know, and we're like, dude, what the fuck is going on? And that's just Chicago for you. I'm sorry to say it, but the weirdest city was the quiet city. Um, but of course, we had Trick Williams, Logan Paul. Austin Theory not being in this match was kind of a shocker because I thought he was actually in this match.
Logan
Like,
made sense. Logan made sense because Logan beat Fatu
No,
last.
Logan made sense because he beat Fatu, but like the storyline's been so confusing. I'm like, okay, Jay's removed.
Yeah.
Who else is in there? And I tend to forget that Trick and Javon made it, which is happily so. Like, good for them. I don't care for Austin Theory, but it was just such a vision influenced couple of weeks that you just expected to be just put in there from Adam Pearce.
Sure.
But of course, we get the first two being Javon and Cody Rhodes, which I was like, hell yeah, that's good for them. Next man in was Trick Williams, which I'm gonna say this, and I hopefully everybody understands what I'm trying to get at. Trick Williams, even from last night's promo, the way that he gets the crowd and everything,
Yeah.
he's got that modern day touch of Booker T in him. Like, he can get the crowd rolling. He loves the confidence on him. And there was internal discussion for him to become a babyface. And after last night with his promo on SmackDown, I was like, okay, I could see it. After but Javon Evans came out, then it started showing a little bit of signs of that ego and selfishness from Trick Williams. But even then, tonight, people love him so much. People,
Yeah.
love Trick Williams. The Lemon Pepper Steppers are going to be stomping on everybody. And when he came out, he did the axe kick in a way to Javon Evans. Javon Evans did his bounce back up, like the kip up, and they were going back and forth. What made me laugh so hard is Cody, Trick, and Javon. Once Logan came in, they started whooping
Yeah.
on his ass the whole way. They're like, "No, fuck that shit. We know you didn't get in here freaking clean like we did." Then of course, LA Knight, freaking, and then more and more started come out. Um, in the end, of course, well, first off, Logan Paul, big night for him, eliminating Javon Evans, LA Knight, and then Trick Williams. Three three motherfuckers he had just out. Crazy work. Then Logan got eliminated by Cody Rhodes, and then after some, oh, sorry, actually no, sorry. Um, Logan Paul got eliminated because he got stomped out by the masked man. There was a one masked man that came out. They unmasked him. He was all laughing, all like maniacally, which I'm liking it. Like, I'm liking that Seth Rollins is in a way getting his like people from his school. Like, we're gonna fight for a teacher. Like, this is the vision. Like, that's the Black and the Brave. That's the true freaking vision that everyone knows it as. And then as soon as Logan's all confused, curb stomp, the freaking mask gets pulled off, and it's Seth freaking Rollins, who last time we saw him, he was defeating Cody Rhodes at the Crown Jewel pay-per-view. Was it Crown Jewel, King of Ring, King, or whatever it was? It was some type of Saudi Arabia show, whatever the fuck it was.
Was it?
It was some, it was something. It was some. It was Australia. Was it Crown Jewel Australia?
I don't know. When is Seth
It was
get
for
hurt?
that stupid. It was for the fucking ring or whatever. It was for that
Oh
damn
yeah,
thing.
yeah, 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 yeah.
But that's the thing. He beat Cody for it. So to look Cody in the eye and say, "Hey, that's basically your I'm paying you back. Your debt is paid. Here,
Yeah.
let me take out Logan Paul for you." But and then after that, the spear by Braun Breaker to Seth Rollins took him out of the group. We hadn't seen him in months. At the Royal Rumble, we expected it to be him. I expected it to be Grayson Waller. That was not the case, which is a very interesting thing because I saw Grayson Waller on Monday, and I'm thinking to myself, so if you weren't out there and you're right here, then who was that masked guy? Like it's Scooby Doo right now. But of course, in the end, Seth Rollins reveals himself. Drew McIntyre gets involved. Uh, gets hit with a
This door
RKO.
was open for so long, Rami. This door was
I
open,
know,
I felt like
I
for 30
know.
minutes straight.
It was, and then hit with the crossroads, and then or
Holy
whatever,
shit.
and then RKO 1, 2, 3. The unthinkable happened. Randy Orton will fight Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania for the WWE Undisputed Championship. And props, props to Randy. I want to see him make history. I'm shocked in the sense of, wow, Cody Rhodes not in the main event of WrestleMania, but that's why I know that shit's gonna hit the fan on Friday. Because as you mentioned, Cody Rhodes will fight Drew McIntyre for the World Championship this Friday night. But anything can really happen. One DQ ruins
DQ.
everything.
DQ.
One DQ, again, I'm saying one DQ, and then that's it. Changes the whole thing. Jacob Fatu gets involved.
Oh yeah.
Cody Rhodes gets his match ruined.
Sammy.
Randy gets involved. Sammy gets involved. LA Knight can get involved.
Ladder
Like this, sorry,
match.
LA Knight's not on SmackDown, sorry. But then there's so much that can happen, and then bam, that ladder match would be beautiful. But right now, the matches list. We're not gonna mention number 5 for Bork Laser. He's a piece of shit. But it goes CM Punk and Roman Reigns, night 2 main event in my opinion. Stephanie Vaquer and Liv Morgan, in my opinion, they could honestly open up night 2 for Mania if they wanted to, and then or even night 1, really honestly. Because I'd love to see the main evented, but usually we see the men's world championship matches main evented. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or some big machismo popularity contest like they had last year for Seth, Roman, and Punk. But then we have Drew versus Randy listed, Jade versus Rhea, and then that open challenge crap. But other than that, I generally think that they're gonna need to work hard in the next couple of weeks to really make that WrestleMania card interesting. Because yeah, you might have like the frosting. Yeah, you might have the ingredients to try to make a good cake. But you're really gonna have to bake that motherfucker good because yes, will we be looking forward to CM Punk and Roman Reigns? For a lot of reasons. Will we be looking forward to Stephanie Vaquer versus Liv Morgan? Of course, those are two of the very best women in WWE right now. Drew McIntyre and Randy. Drew is so deserving of finally getting into that big WrestleMania title picture, and he's got it here. Randy Orton is a freaking legend. From legend killer to legend, he deserves an opportunity to where he finally wins the championship. And especially these two feuding that they did for years and never getting that big WrestleMania match. Jade Cargill is going to really need to step up to the plate and be freaking hitting home runs to be able to stop Rhea Ripley from taking her title away from her. And then you have this whole open challenge thing that's going to be flooding the next couple of weeks before Open Theory finally knocks on the door and says, "All right, I want to fight you." Like, okay, whatever. Like, it's just the women's tag team titles from Lash and Nia have to be defended.
Yeah.
Okay, Kiana versus Alexa versus Io should be a match that they run for a number 1 contender for the United States Championship. Winner fights Julia. You know what I mean? So Io versus Julia at WrestleMania could be a really good match there as well.
Trick and
You
Mello.
have Trick and Mello. That would be a great match for the Men's United States Championship as well. Yes, I would love that a lot. And then You have OG Americana versus copycat El Grande Americana, I guess. Like,
Mask.
like mask versus mask match or whatever. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the
Finn and
men's tag
Dom.
team,
Finn and Dom.
Finn and Dom, yes. Where I was thinking, I don't want to see the return there because no offense to Dominic Mysterio, you're a cheater, yeah, but
They'll
do
jobber
I
him.
really?
They'll jobber him.
That's what I'm saying. Like we're gonna see Dominic Mysterio get jobbed the fuck out,
Yeah.
and it's just gonna. And I'm like, okay, cool. But then that year long, build of, hey, let's build you up just to now just put you side by side with Liv. He's just become Liv Morgan's like boy toy again and everything.
Yeah.
Like just I'm like, all right, that's
I
cool, I guess. Like,
I do want to add it here and just say with the match, I was really underwhelmed by this match tonight. They had a chance to make people like, wow, Javon Evans. If you don't watch NXT, this guy's really good. He did a frog splash off the pod. That was really cool. Other than that, he had no cool spots in this match. Trick didn't have any cool spots in this match. I don't understand when you have these two guys. Like they didn't like Raquel had her moments to shine. They gave like an MVP. There was no, Logan Paul got like the most stuff. He got 3 eliminations in the match. I just don't get. Javon's in here to do some crazy stuff. They didn't have Javon do really anything in this match. He probably won't be on Mania for some. Like watch him win like the Andre Battle Royal on SmackDown, and that'll be it for Javon.
yeah, or Trick. You know what I mean? Trick's gonna do the same thing, maybe.
I think they had a chance. Like, wow, Javon Evans is so good. Let's have him in this feud at Mania, but they didn't do that. I think again we're gonna get a 4-way or a 5-way for the world title. So it kind of makes the chamber meaningless. Is the fact that you don't have to win this to get a match at Mania, which I think is stupid. The door was open for a millennium. It made the match. They didn't. I think the difference between the women's and the men's, even though the women's wasn't that great, it was good. Was they actually used the pods? They actually used the cage. The men just did not.
Yeah,
at all.
Raquel with that power slam through the freaking pod was insane.
Like the men did not. Like Javon sure jumped, did a tope, but like there wasn't many through the pot. Like they did that. Logan Paul got through. But there was not a lot of using the actual chamber in the match. I felt like they could have just done a 6-pack challenge for it. So I thought this was overbooked like crazy, this match. For a chamber match, there was so much interference. Like, I was like, this is
so much interference. Which it was nice that last year we just had like all big all-stars and Logan Paul, and then John Cena beat CM Punk for it after that big curb stomp from Seth, which was hell yeah, great moment before the big betrayal from Cena.
But Seth's in the match. He's not coming from the friggin' entranceway to do anything. He's in the match. Like
exactly. Like I was thinking, like with a person like the masked person, they open up the freaking thing, like Shawn Michaels did, curb stomp right there on the freaking thing, 1, 2, 3, and end it right there. But they had him do a face off, do his little signature sidekick, and then do the curb stomp, which you can tell that the last couple of weeks were not him because their curb stomps were stomp immediately. With his, he likes to like hang on your neck and then do the stomp, which is like a very Seth Rollins type of thing. You can tell immediately, which I like it a lot.
Before we move on, so tell me what because Bronson is her. Bronson Reed won't be at Mania. I assume Braun Breaker won't be at WrestleMania. So Seth Rollins.
I don't know because they're saying Braun Breaker would more than likely be back 2, maybe 3 weeks before Mania. They're trying to claim.
I think he's another Raw after Mania thing. I think they're doing a tag match. Theory, Logan, Seth, and ... Everyone's in Bad Bunny though.
I would love for it to be Bad Bunny, you know what I mean? Like, it would be so exciting too if Seth, like, example, had a match on Monday against Theory, and then like Theory, it looked like Theory and the cheating of Logan Paul is about to win the match, curb stomp from a mask man, and they're like, again, another one of these matches.
I don't need another mask
and
man.
then that's when we have like we basically have like that's it. The culmination of that was Bad Bunny for the last couple of weeks because you can't explain it why did you have a brown beard when we know that you don't have a brown beard? So you have to
no more
mask. They're not gonna say Adam Pearce. They're not gonna say it was freaking like Grayson Waller. They're gonna have to say it was Bad Bunny,
No.
fucking like, come on,
I can't do it, Rami. If there's another hooded
he's like,
figure, I will lose my mind.
if there's another hooded figure, put money on it that I own the Fed, and I'm burning it down. But no, what a pay-per-view it was.
That's
Very
one way to put
lackluster. It was a very lackluster pay-per-view in the sense of we needed the momentum pushes. There were no momentum pushes. Congrats to Randy because last year John Cena winning it to Randy winning it now, it's a beautiful thing. Like I was like, I just watched the '09 No Way Out and Randy versus Shane killer match. It was like, man, I would love to see this version of Randy heading into Mania, and I'm very happy for him. But of course, there's so much work that they're gonna have to be doing. And WrestleMania season is about to be closing. You know what I mean? We're just a couple of weeks away, about a month away, month and like about a half away from being able to see what happens
49
next.
days.
49 days, and they have 49 down. They have basically 48 days and counting to be able to make this a very memorable WrestleMania, which is going to be the last WrestleMania in Las Vegas for quite some time because I don't think they come back here. I don't think they come back here for another maybe 10 more years. And then after that, it's Saudi Arabia for them. But of course, thank you so much to everybody who tuned in over the last hour. Over 862 of you. Thank you as always to everybody that tunes in to listen to us yap, to hear our analysis and thoughts and recap of these events because who else is going to do it for you? You know what I mean? We're doing the best job that we can, and we're handling business. But of course, Max, thank you so much as always, for asking me to be part of these and for, of course, being a great, great, great co-host and a host as well. Where can they find you at on your socials?
You can find me at Dinenberg Max on Twitter, at Max Dinenberg on Instagram. For Body Slam, please follow us on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, all of those things. I do highs and lows every night of the week, basically. Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Dynamite, and Collision. It's going to be a busy also post shows the next couple of weeks. Next week, I'll be doing the post show for NXT Vengeance Day next Saturday. And then the week after is Revolution in Rami's home of LA. So I'll be here with Blackhawk doing the post show for Revolution. So a lot of post shows. Then Rami, it's going to be our first Mania post shows together. We're going to be doing it together each night, 2 consecutive nights of Rami and myself. I'll also be doing the stand and even though Stand Deliver is not that weekend, I'll be doing Stand Deliver in early April as well. So we're going to basically starting this week, it's going to be mostly pay-per-view post shows every weekend for the next month and a half. So I'm very excited to be back here on YouTube consistently with you guys. And also please subscribe as well onto YouTube because me and Blackhawk have a podcast called Tour of Japan. We've been off for a little bit. I was at the New Japan show last night in Jersey. So this Friday on the podcast, Blackhawk and I will be recapping the show I was at, New Beginning, as well. We're going to preview the New Japan Cup, which starts on Wednesday. So definitely tune in to our podcast on Friday. Rami?
Hell yeah, hell yeah. And of course, with me, I recently just did an interview, my 3rd conversation with the Mile High Samurai, Royce Isaacs. We talked about a whole bunch. That guy, most down-to-earth person you could speak to. I absolutely love doing these interviews. Last couple of weeks, I've been able to interview Ray Lynn, Royce Isaacs. I'm having another one coming up with a world champion from a whole nother continent. So it's going to be very, very exciting to see how more and more I can get those. And like you mentioned, AEW Revolution in 2 weeks. Freaking, my heart is beating just thinking about it because like I just have to freaking wait until the following Monday and I will officially know if I'm approved or not. And that's all I can really hope for. But of course, Royce Isaacs and we spoke about his match last October for Defy Wrestling against Jon Moxley, where he gave me an exclusive that he was hand selected personally by Jon Moxley himself. So AEW Revolution, like you mentioned, will feature Jon Moxley versus Konosuke Takeshita in a no time limit match for the Continental Championship. It'll also feature the Young Bucks against FTR for the Tag Team Championships, Texas Death Match between MJF and Hangman Adam Page, plus so much more. I cannot wait for that. I'm gonna be bawling my eyes out if I'm live in person there when I hear the Death Riders music and I see Jon Moxley or I see the Young Bucks and whatnot. I've had many, many conversations with Nick Jackson, very, very lovable person and just a very down-to-earth person. So I'm hoping to be able to ask him a couple of questions since I do owe him that for the simple fact that he did give me one of my best freaking articles whenever I said that he was playing with himself on AEW Fight Forever, and the Young Bucks reposted it, and it was just a big, big thing. So of course, shout out Young Bucks, they are the goats. And shout out to everybody that of course tunes into these. You guys are goats as well. And of
Yes.
course, I love yapping with Max. I love being able to do this every single time. And you can
Yeah.
follow me on my socials at Rami on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, TikTok. I'm doing my best to grow a lot of my audience and my freaking, my voice. And I think I'm doing a pretty damn good job of it. So, of course, thank you so much to everybody that tunes in, who enjoys my articles, who enjoys the highs and lows, who enjoys our post shows, enjoys anything that we do. Because generally, we have a passion for professional wrestling, and all we want to do is be able to share that with you in the most positive light that we can without being too much of kiss asses and making sure that we have honest and personal
Fair.
thoughts, out there and unbiased, fair thoughts from us
Yes.
to you, and every single day of the week. So of course, thank you so much to everybody that tuned in. I of course am Rami Afif, your host, your co-host, and your what do you call it, lovable Dodgers fan. Let's go, Los Angeles Dodgers! They will win for a third championship this year again. Yeah. And of course, that is Max, who will be witnessing his Phillies dominate the season, hit home runs, home runs, home run, home runs, just to lose in the divisional championship to the Dodgers, and it'll be a beautiful day. But of course, thank you so much,
We're
everybody.
ending on
We,
this. No.
we will see you next time. Shout out to Oscar Hernandez, shout out to Shohei Otani, shout out Freddie Freeman, shout out to all the goats.
I'm ending it.
I Rami Afif. See you next time.